Good evening, Tallahassee. I am student meteorologist Spencer Blum reporting live from the UAS building with our Monday evening weather. So right now over at Doak Campbell Stadium, we have a gorgeous sunset taking place, as well some very warm temperatures for this time of year, 84 degrees, partly cloudy, and with the wind out of the west at 7 miles an hour. So right now in Tallahassee, we don't have too much to speak of, just some ground scattering. This is just the radar beam hitting maybe some smoke or some birds. However, we do have some storms making their way in from the west. And for tonight in Tallahassee, we can expect some temperatures sitting down in the mid-60s, 64 degrees, partly cloudy, and with a wind out of the south-southwest at 5 miles an hour. And for tomorrow, we can expect another blisteringly hot, almost record-breaking day, 87 degrees, partly cloudy, and a winds out of the west-northwest at 10 miles an hour. And for tonight's show, as I've mentioned, we have a very warm start to meteorological spring here in the Big Bend. But when can we expect a cool down? And next week for FSU is spring break, so we are going to be talking about some of the weather we can expect over break.
Thank you, Spencer. That's right, folks. We have an amazing show here on this Monday edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Aaron Surrey here to guide you off to the show that we're having tonight. So come on in, welcome, take a nice seat, have a nice drink perhaps, and join us for the show. So we're talking warm temperatures across much of the area today, and we actually hit the record of 87 degrees, or 88 degrees, I should say, here in Tallahassee, but it's just still just a warm day outside, of course. It's not as humid as it was last week, but it's actually going to climb right back here over the next several days or so. But Evan, how is it actually looking further into the week, at least in Tallahassee?
Well, Aaron, I got to say, the temperatures will be cooling off as we go later in the week, and I'll get to that more in the 7-day forecast, but still, we are hot, hot, hot. It's 84 degrees right now. That's 12 degrees above our average high of 72 for this time of the year. And we got up to 88 degrees at Tallahassee International today, breaking that old record of 87. So I'll get to that more in the temperature almanac on our next graphic here. Still, temperatures are widespread in the 80s, so still very warm for early March. These are more like summer-like temperatures or late spring. So we actually are a little bit cooler down by the coast, sitting in the middle 70s. But again, we're very warm, very humid as well. Like I said, we did get up to 88 degrees at Tallahassee International today, breaking that old record, over a 100-year-old record set back in 1918 of 87. So we'll get close to that tomorrow. I'm not sure we're going to tie the record or break the record. Right now, the forecast is for 87, so we'll have to see if we can break or tie that record tomorrow. Winds are light and variable out of the east, or out of the west, rather, around the area, so not a whole lot to really cool down the area much, so it's just unfortunate because we are dealing with those higher temperatures and higher humidity out there, and that also is sparking up some showers and storms off to our west, working into Jackson County as well as Liberty County off to our west along I-10. Those should fizzle out as they make their way towards Tallahassee, so you won't have to worry about those for your evening commute at all. Like I said, those will fizzle out overnight tonight. There may be some patchy fog, especially along the coastline tomorrow morning, so just be aware of that as you're headed out the door tomorrow morning, as there may be some reduced visibilities. And we also can't rule out a stray shower or thunderstorm tomorrow, because you actually see some of the convergence we have with those winds that may spark up an afternoon shower or storm along the I-10 corridor. Tonight will be nice and mild for overnight lows, sitting in the middle 60s, maybe a touch warmer down by the coast in the upper 60s, but again, the real factor is going to be along the coast is that fog going into tomorrow morning. That's really the main risk to take away for tonight. For tomorrow, we'll warm right back up into the middle and upper 80s by the afternoon hours, say 3 or 4 o'clock, where you get that peak heating of the day. That's where we could get towards that record of 87 set back in probably 50 years ago at least. So we'll have to see if we can get to that tomorrow afternoon. Again, there's that forecast high of 87. We are cooler down by the coast. We have that marine influence off the water, sitting in the lower 80s, maybe even the upper 70s there in Apalachicola. For the week ahead, here's the important thing. Tuesday will be nice and hot again, headed up towards that record, and then we cool off into the upper 70s with a cold front making its way towards Tallahassee on Friday, bringing in that storm chance. The weekend looks okay also in the upper 70s. Again, there's that shower threat returning for Sunday and Monday. But Ariana, please tell me about the southeast.
Very funny, and I can tell you that it is nice and sunny around Florida right now. You can see the sun out in Panama City, a little bit cooler there in Panama City and Tampa right now, but overall great day if you love to get outdoors. As for our temperatures though, we are going to see those temperatures are well into the 80s across the state thanks to a high pressure system that is really nice and warm over our area. And those muggier conditions with the higher dew points are making it feel very humid. My hair is very frizzy as I walk out that door. So very summertime-like conditions across the entire state of Florida, dipping down into the 70s for those dew points as we work our way down the state. But as for our satellite and radar, we can see very few storms, a few across the northwest Florida panhandle, but otherwise sunny conditions across the state, really living up to the Florida Sunshine State name. And as we travel across the state, we're going to see some Miami temperatures that are getting close to that 90-degree mark. Some showers are expected for our Wednesday, though. And as we head into Tampa, sticking with the 80s across the area and some sunnier skies. So great day to head outdoors, go to the theme parks, because I do know spring break is happening for some schools already. Orlando, great day to head out to Magic Kingdom Universal once again. Sunny skies and temperatures in the 80s. Jacksonville, we're going to see a cool down as we head into Wednesday, almost a 17-degree difference. I like the 70-degree weather personally here as we are in the beginning of March, but some people, I know a lot of Floridians do like to see those 80-degree temperatures. Pensacola, we're going to see a similar shift, cooler temperatures as we head into Wednesday and Thursday, so pack your umbrellas if you are in Pensacola for the Thursday, as we are going to see some rain work into the area, and it's going to stay about less than an inch for most of the state, so regardless, pack an umbrella, see some showers here and there across the state as we work into the next couple of days. But for tonight's forecast, we're going to see some of those temperatures that are still very mild and muggy, very warm for this time of the year. I know National Weather Service was saying that these temperatures that we're experiencing are for mid-May. So that is telling you the extreme heat that we are feeling here across the state. Temperatures, though, are in the 60s and 70s across the state. And tomorrow's forecast, another day close to 80 degrees, possibly record-breaking heat across the state of Florida. And I don't know, is there any relief across the southeast, Aaron?
Not really. It looks like it's probably going to stay pretty warm, at least for the next several days or so across much of the southeast here. And you can actually see here on the temperature map where we have those 80s across the board here across much of the region, with 81 in Shreveport, 81 as well in Tallahassee, and a very, very cold 79 degrees in Tampa and Orlando here. So quite the difference here. But overall, we're staying pretty uniform across the southeast as we have that sunshine, that high pressure in place. And unfortunately, that's probably going to continue if you're a cold weather lover like I am. That will continue over the next several days or so. And actually, the high pressure actually comes up pretty nicely here on the wind map with that clockwise spin here over the Gulf of Mexico. And what that's doing, it's allowing for that more of that southwesterly flow on the Emerald Coast here across the Panhandle of Florida. We have more of that northwesterly flow here across much of the Sun Coast there in Tampa. And then overall, we have the general clockwise motion around that high pressure center. So we're staying fairly dry as a result of that high pressure area over the Gulf of Mexico. And what that's doing is it's basically keeping the area dry. We might perhaps see a few little isolated showers along the sea breeze boundary that is making its way inland here across the central Gulf Coast. So say Mobile over towards Jackson, Mississippi, might see perhaps a shower or two this evening. And as for that water vapor, there's the actual remnants of that front that came through this weekend here with that drier air in the upper levels, especially across South Florida. So you can see right in the Keys there where it's a bit drier. And then further north, we have that more overarching upper level cirrus, perhaps some more moisture coming in the upper levels of the atmosphere here. So that will certainly come into play here over the next several days or so as we do moisten up here. And as for that relative humidity, we will see perhaps an increase in relative humidity over the next several days or so as we do begin to see more moisture coming into the area, more water, that air you can feel, so to speak, here, much across the southeast here. And as for the storm prediction outlook here for at least today, we don't expect any severe weather early, any thunderstorms for that matter. If any precipitation that does come out of any clouds here should, for the most part, stay dry. So again, if you have those line dancing plans, perhaps stay indoors here as we do have the warmer weather in place here. And as for the day 2 outlook, we do have a potential marginal risk for Dallas and over into Oklahoma too. So again, if you have any line dancing plans, perhaps keep those indoors as we might see perhaps some showers over the next several days in Texas, so to speak, and Oklahoma. And as for tonight's forecast, we might perhaps dip a little bit down at least in the northern portions of the region. Tupelo might get down into about 57, Little Rock 55, and then Tallahassee here 65. So still relatively warm for this time, actually pretty warm for this time of year for our low temperatures, we're starting off actually pretty close to our average high temperature. So that speaks volumes here, of course. It is really hot, 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 as I mentioned earlier. So those temperatures tomorrow should actually rebound into the middle to upper 80s, especially along the central Gulf Coast and inland where we don't have the effects of the sea breeze here. So again, we expect 87 in Tallahassee, 89 in Miami, and perhaps a tad cooler as you make your way over towards New Orleans at 82, and then actually a little bit more cooler as you go towards Little Rock there with perhaps that cold front that will come through and cool things down there. As for that future forecast, we should expect those cloudier, or the clouds, perhaps some fog coming in tomorrow morning across the I-10 corridor. Again, those will eventually burn off, and we'll have those warm temperatures rebound back here across the area. And Wednesday and Thursday looks like we'll actually have a chance to see perhaps a few isolated showers and thunderstorms ahead of the next cold front, which will primarily come on Friday ahead of your spring break here. And as for Blacksburg, Virginia, we do have the potential for that cold front to come through perhaps later in the week. As look at those temperatures below freezing. Of course, we envy them this time of year here in Florida. They're 28 and there at least on Tuesday into Wednesday, and then into the 60s here across much of the weekend. And as for Charleston, South Carolina, we're seeing pretty much the same as it is here with those temperatures in the 80s to begin with. But Spencer, honestly, how do you look at those 60s there? It looks really pleasant there.
Well, Aaron, those 60-degree temperatures are really quite nice, but unfortunately, that is not the case across most of the country. So down here in the south and in the southeast, we are experiencing some quite warm temperatures, actually record-breaking temperatures here, especially in Tallahassee. I believe we've broken or tied for the highest temperature for whichever specific day for the last week now. So you can see 81 in New Orleans, 84 degrees here in Tallahassee, 74 out in Memphis. But as we go more north and out west, you can see 8 degrees out in Bismarck, 35 in Minneapolis, and 25 degrees out in Billings. So these are some really, really frigid temperatures up north. And as well, you can see we have a very sharp delineation between drier air in these brown colors and some more moist air here in these green colors. And here you can see a bit of that cold front, which Aaron had just mentioned. So we have this cold front here, which is separating these dry and warm conditions. And as well here, for those of you who might be a little bit more weather inclined, we do have a dry line extending out through Oklahoma and into Texas. So this area represents a very sharp change in dew points between more moist air and drier air. And for our current satellite and radar, not too much happening across most of the country. Really just some cloud cover across areas such as the Great Plains. And out west, it is a little bit of a different story as well. In the Midwest, you can see we do have some more snow and showers on the west coast, as well as some more cloud cover and storms and snow up here in the Midwest. And our SPC, so Storm Prediction Center outlook, you can see not too much of a risk for severe weather across really much of the country, just a slight non-severe risk out on the west coast and over here in the mid-Atlantic. So zooming in a little bit more in the mid-Atlantic, you can see here western Pennsylvania and eastern Cincinnati. You guys might be seeing some showers or some small storms, but nothing really too risky. So this is a national view of that water vapor map, which Aaron had actually just shown us a minute ago. Here's that dry air from that front. And you can see just relatively moist conditions or moisture being brought in from the southwest over into the southeast. And just ignore this flashing yellow block. Unfortunately, our graphics are going a little wonky tonight. And we are happy to report for the first time in quite some time out west, we actually have seen a bit of a relaxation in the drought. So here in western Colorado, much of Arizona, and even the central valleys over here in California and along the coast, even in parts such as Los Angeles, are no longer in a drought. This is really, really, really great, as these areas in the west have been plagued with drought for quite some time. However, here in the plains and the Ogallala Aquifer region, unfortunately, we are experiencing quite an exceptional drought in these areas. So taking a look at the national surface map, you can see here that cold front, which is that separation between those cooler, drier conditions and those more moist, warm conditions. And here is that warm front, which is why we see some storms right over here in the northern Midwest. And for our snowfall forecast for the next few days, you can see really along the northern Great Plains and out west into the mountains in California. These areas can be seeing the most snow over the next few days. And here's a look at the rainfall forecast for the next few days. So fortunately, here where we have some of the strongest droughts, we actually will be seeing some of the most rain. So this is going to be really, really helpful for these areas. And just taking a look at some active alerts, not too much across most of the country. We do have some fire weather warnings out here in the west, and as well up here we do have some winter weather advisories. And taking a quick look at tomorrow's forecast, another day of quite warm temperatures here in the south, 82 in San Antonio, 82 in New Orleans. As well, we can see very, very frigid temperatures, 30 degrees out in Billings, 49 out in Seattle. So, Evan, tell me, what is it looking like back here in Tallahassee?
Well, yeah, Spencer, we're going to take a little bit of a closer look back home and look at that live look over the res. A beautiful sunset over Lake Bradford right now. Still staying at 84 degrees, and one thing I should note about that sunset, that's going to be getting an hour later as we spring ahead this weekend, Saturday night into Sunday. So remember to set those clocks forward, and that sunset will be an hour later at around 7:30 next week. So a little bit of something to get used to there. But like I said, we are still quite mild, sitting at 84 under partly cloudy skies with that westerly breeze at 7 miles per hour. Look at the hour by hour for today. We did hit 88 degrees right about here in between 3 and 4 p.m. today at Tallahassee International, breaking that record of 87 set back in 1918. And this now makes it 7 out of the last 12 days that we've hit a record high temperature here in Tallahassee. And we've also had a streak of 80 degrees or warmer high temperatures for 14 straight days. And unfortunately for warm weather fans, that will be breaking later this week, and I'll get to that more in the 7-day forecast. Tonight's forecast, though, sitting in the middle 60s, maybe some upper 60s down by the coastline, sitting in 67 Carabel and 68 there in Apalachicola. So another mild night, and actually we're pretty close to our average high temperature for this time of the year with these lows tonight. Our average high this time of year is 72. So that just shows you how mild these nights are. And we will be cooling off, like I said, into the upper 60s, maybe even mid 60s by 1 a.m. The one thing to look out for, though, if you're headed out late tonight, is the fog that's going to develop late tonight and into early tomorrow morning, especially along that coastline there. So just be aware of that. Tomorrow's DriveCast looks great for a drive down I-10. Hopefully you don't get any flat tires like I would, but it looks like temperatures will warm back up into the middle 80s, potentially tying that record of 87 for tomorrow afternoon. It looks like a great day for the beach as well. The one thing to look out for is that high rip current risk, so be aware of that because you don't want to get caught in those. If you do get caught in those, swim parallel to the shore to get out of those. Panama City looks great for the next 3 days. Cooler than we have been, though, sitting around 80 degrees for the next 3 days. Lows in the middle to lower 60s. Valdosta looks great as well. One more hot day tomorrow, and then we cool off into the upper 70s by Wednesday and Thursday. Overnight lows staying in the 50s. Jacksonville, similar story as well. The one thing to look out for on Wednesday is some blustery conditions. That's really the main story there. So not a whole lot to talk about in terms of weather. The only thing is going to be those cooling temperatures. But now, Ariana, you are going to talk about sports, which I know is a favorite of yours.
And I would say it's my second love compared to weather, but I'm extremely excited to tell you about the sports that Florida State has going on. And as we take a live look at our Sportsplex, we actually have an AMS softball team that will be playing here tomorrow for a possible win. Hopefully they do come out and win. But our men's swimming and diving are at the the NCAA in Knoxville, and it is going to be some nicer conditions even though it is an indoor event. Temperatures are going to be in the lower 70s. So as we look at that future rainfall, we can see that there basically is none, especially around the southeast. Outside of, we can see those storms start to creep in as we head into Wednesday and then into Thursday. They're going to work into Alabama and possibly even into Florida, but overall right now it's a great day to head outdoors. And our men's basketball team, I know, not a great year for Florida State basketball, but hopefully we can come out with a first round win against Georgia Tech at the ACC tournament in Greensboro, North Carolina. Temperatures 71 and sunnier conditions, so things are looking up hopefully for the weather and the basketball team. Florida State beach volleyball is occurring in some chillier temperatures, I would say Wednesday in Atlanta, Georgia. Sunny skies and temperatures in the upper 50s, so something to look forward to if you are a fan of beach volleyball. And as we travel to Atlanta to look at our 3-day forecast, we can see some rainier conditions are going to come in on Thursday. But overall, I like these conditions a little bit better than those 80-degree temperatures that we're seeing here in Tallahassee right now. For our Florida State track and field, they are in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I do see them practicing when I go for a run on the track every night. So great to see them and what they're accomplishing this year. NCAA Indoor Championship, 55 degrees. Nice and cool outside if it were to be outside. For our tennis team, we're going to see some great tennis matches occurring on Friday at home under some cooler conditions, so a little bit of a relief from those 90-degree temperatures, give or take a few, that we've been seeing over the past couple days. Partly cloudy conditions, and it is going to start at 4:30, so be there or be square. I know, be there or be square. Men's baseball is occurring this weekend, and we are going to be playing against Pitt under some partly cloudy conditions here on Friday, 73 degrees, and winds coming out of the south-southwest at 10 to 13 miles per hour. Florida State softball is traveling to Stillwater, Oklahoma to take on Oklahoma State. And last year, I'm pretty sure that FSU came out with that win against Oklahoma State. So here's for a repeat. They are ranked 3rd, Oklahoma State, but we are number 5, so top 5 matchup. Very excited to see what is in store. Temperatures, though, are going to be a little bit chilly with temperatures in the 40s by the end of the game. And I'm a golf fan. I played golf in high school. Our women's golf team is traveling to Augusta to play some golf on Sunday. Temperatures are going to be nice and mild at 73 degrees and partly cloudy conditions. So we are going to take a look and hand it over to Evan with the lifestyle.
That's right. And I know you said you played golf in high school, but the last time I played you, it didn't seem that way. I think I really improved the skills a little bit there. But as you said earlier in your segment, it does look like a gorgeous night at the Sportsplex where the Coriolis Force softball team will be taking on, I forget the other team's name, but we'll be taking on a team tomorrow night. So be there or be square, and hopefully you can cheer for the Coriolis Force because we are a force to be reckoned with. Oh yeah, I went there. But current temperatures around the Tallahassee region are sitting in the 80s, so again, quite mild for this time of the year. A little bit cooler down by the coast, sitting in the middle 70s there in Apalachicola and St. Marks. And we are muggy as well. The humidity has really been something noticeable this week, and really over the last week or two, and there's no different today. Sitting at 71 on our dew point down there in Apalachicola, so that's quite close to the actual temperature of 75. So that just goes to show you how humid and muggy it really is outside. So hopefully that will change with this upcoming cold front later this week, and I think it will. That's something that I think people can really like, that kind of change. But overnight tonight, the stargazing forecast does look good early because then clouds begin to build and we get that fog threat as well as we go into the early morning hours. So make sure you get on and do any stargazing early on in your overnight hours tonight. Airport delays are not going to be a factor really over the next week or so. Maybe Friday with those thunderstorms coming in, it could get a little dicey, but no delays currently at Tallahassee International, and a similar story around the country as well, not seeing any airport delays. That's something that's always a good thing for air travelers. For tomorrow, we could, again, break or tie that record of 87. Right now, the forecast is for 87. We'll have to see if that starts to change a little bit as we get more information here. But still another sweltering day out there, and this will be likely the last 80-degree day that we'll see in our 7-day forecast, so that's a good thing for people that like the cooler weather, like myself, the native New Yorker, likes the colder weather, of course. And the marine forecast is similar to what we're going to be experiencing later on in the week. 75 is your air temperature tomorrow, water temperature of 70. So me coming from New York, that's actually pretty balmy for early March. I gotta say, I'll take that. The one thing to look out for is that high rip current risk. If you get caught in a rip current, make sure you swim parallel to the shore to swim out of that rip current so you're not dragged out to sea. For the hourly forecast for tomorrow, though, we'll start off in the 50s tomorrow morning, and then we'll work our way up into the 80s, the middle 80s by the end of the day, potentially, again, tying that record of 87 for tomorrow afternoon. So we'll have to come close to that tomorrow afternoon. The dog walk forecast also looks good for your pooch out there. Looks like we'll warm up into the 70s and 80s by tomorrow afternoon, so another good day to get out there and do that. If you're a little bit sensitive to the warm weather, get out there and do that dog walk nice and early. Tomorrow looks like a good pool day, though, sitting up near 85 degrees by the afternoon. And there's your weekday planner. Again, we will cool off by Wednesday and Thursday, so the cooler weather is definitely a welcome sight for a native New Yorker like me. But Heather, how are we looking around Tallahassee? Look at that sunset.
This is a gorgeous day today in Tallahassee. Gorgeous colors out in the sky, but very, very hot all day today. So current temperatures are in the mid to lower 80s across the board, slightly cooler near the coast, 75 in Apalachicola, and we've got that hot spot around here, 81 in Tallahassee, 81 in Monticello, so very, very hot temperatures recently. but very cool winds. You notice this weekend it was so breezy, but that has really calmed off this Monday. Slightly breezier on the coast, 9 miles per hour in Apalachicola, but very calm winds across the board. Unfortunately, that's not helping much with that heat that we've been seeing. Now the radar is picking up some ground scattering around Tallahassee, but that is just smoke or birds, no precipitation in our area, but there are some scattered showers to our west, so just keep an eye on that and maybe bring an umbrella on your commute. For the future radar, we're going to see some clouds coming in overnight tonight and into tomorrow, and a chance for a scattered shower or two, but overall, nothing much in terms of precipitation to worry about over the next few days. Tonight in Tallahassee, the low is 64 degrees, very comfortable conditions, and a slight breeze at 5 miles an hour, so it'll be a gorgeous night tonight. And for the forecast for tonight, slightly warmer near the coast, actually, 67 in St. Marks, 68 in Apalachicola, and cooling off a bit as you move further inland, 65 in Monticello. But overall, very comfortable conditions. Into tomorrow, again, very hot warming up into the afternoon, 71 degrees starting off very pleasant at 9 a.m., and 85 degrees around 3 p.m. So temperatures will be warming up again as we've seen. And for the week ahead, we're going to see those warm temperatures continuing for the rest of the week with a slight chance of rain coming in on Friday ahead of a small cold front, which is going to cause our lows to dip into the 40s on Sunday, which is a big change. But now I'm going to hand things over to Erin to close out the show.
Heather here. This is actually her first show on FSU Weather here, so again, congratulations, Heather. You're a really great part of our crew here. As you can see next to me here, I have Keenan, who actually made his debut back on Friday, this past Friday. He came back from his treehouse or wherever iguanas live, and from South Florida. But yeah, he's here to enjoy the show with us. But today we had, of course, we're talking about that warm weather across much of Tallahassee and in general southeastern area, but of course, where there is a warm temperature, you might see perhaps a cold temperature afterwards, and we might see perhaps a cold front that's going to come through on Friday. But until then, we might have to see, perhaps look out for some further warm weather, and then also perhaps some rain and some scattered showers, and perhaps a rumble or thunder or two on Friday with that 60% chance of rain. So don't put those umbrellas away yet. We might have to bring them back out on Friday, but thankfully you have a few days to prepare for such conditions. But of course, across the country today, we had much of the coldest temperatures primarily across the West Coast, which brought those cooler weather and now continues to bring the cooler weather and those rainier conditions across that area, which actually, as Spencer mentioned earlier, alleviated some of the drought there, which is always great news to hear out of California. But don't forget to follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU Weather. And also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU Weather. Also, if you're not already watching us live already, make sure to watch us live every weeknight from 6 to 6:30 on YouTube. And also follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather. We also have a TikToks too, so don't forget to also check out our TikTok here. But we'll actually wrap things up with a nice day or a nice look at our 7-day. Have a nice night.